Hi there. It's Friday. Yay, the weekend is here. Thank you so much for stopping by today and visiting my channel and talking with me. Today I'm going to do my makeup as well, but today I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about probably the greatest challenge that I've had professionally, especially if for those of you who are considering opening your own business, and what it took for me to go through that process and get the money to open a business and get started in my journey as a entrepreneur and a business owner. So I'm going to start my makeup and we're going to talk about this, and I really hope it helps you, and I hope more than anything it inspires you to start your own business. If you're at the point in your life where you're ready for a change and you want to control your own destiny, I wholeheartedly encourage entrepreneurship. You sacrifice a lot, but it's well worth it. So I've already today done my eyebrows. I've cleaned them up. I've put on my e.l.f. Poreless primer, which I love. I keep this in the refrigerator, especially for those days when I'm really struggling with moisture in my face. I just find it feels so good in the mornings. I'm also going to start with a little bit heavier foundation today because I do have a pretty important appointment that I've got to go to today, and it is this new foundation that has been all of the rage, Foria, and I am using Soft Matte Liquid Finish Foundation in 101 Porcelain. And I'm gonna start that today. I'm just gonna start a little bit, put it on my face. I'm gonna use my sponge. This is very sparingly. You don't need a lot of this foundation. That's why I'm doing dots. You will be astonished at the coverage that you get with this foundation, and not using a whole lot of it. I was very impressed by it when I first saw it and tried it, and I do use it on those days where I feel like I need a little bit more protection, because it's got a sunscreen in it too, because I will be out in the sun today, but also gives me that extra coverage that I'm looking for today. Cover up a little bit more of those dark blemishes that I have everywhere. I'd be really interested to hear back from you girls too, guys too, because there's plenty of guys that are out there that are doing makeup too, which is, I think, really great. I would be really interested to hear from you what beauty blenders you find the best. This one is an e.l.f. one, and I liked the size of it, but I'm not real happy with the way that it blends, and maybe it's me, maybe I'm doing it incorrectly, I don't know. But a lot of times when I use it, I feel like I have to go back over with my fingers and just make sure that I'm getting it all blended in. So as you can see, I hardly used any of that foundation. I'm gonna come back in a little bit more because I have a lot of redness right there. And this time I'm just gonna put my fingers to work. Oh, I just love that e.l.f. Poreless. I just think that is such a great primer for your face. I exfoliated last night as well, so my skin feels really good. But whenever I exfoliate like that, I do need that extra bit of cold primer on my face that just drinks in I also have a little jar of my Baby Johnson's lotion that I put in the refrigerator, my little makeup refrigerator, for those days where I struggle, or I feel like I'm struggling with the moisture levels in my face. You know, it's 60. It's a pretty regular occurrence, and so I do put it in the refrigerator. I do have some in the refrigerator. I don't use it all the time in the refrigerator, but especially on those days where I'm struggling with moisture, I do find that it really does help me. So I'm going to use my fingers here to get my concealer in, and that's my e.l.f. Camo Concealer Long Wear in the lightest shade. So, starting your own business and getting the funding to start your own business can be a challenge. Unless you have obviously the funds that are, funds that are available for startup. When I started my Allstate agency back in 2010, the cost associated with my startup agency, I had to have $25,000 in startup fees, and the average business in the first 3 to 5 years is going to go through $75,000 worth of startup expenses, and these startup expenses are obviously your facility where you're going to be working out of. One of the big expenses there is going to be, do you have to build it out? Is it already built out? A lot of commercial spaces let you build out your facility for a lower rent. Now the thing about that is when you do that and you put your money into the build out for the lower rent, unless you're planning on staying there for, a good 5 years to recuperate that, you are actually building out the space for the owner. Yes, you're getting the rent at a cheaper price monthly, but you're investing in their property. And when you leave, generally speaking, you don't get that money back unless you are able to work that into your contractual agreement when you are building that facility out, that when you leave, you get either all of that back or a portion of that back. I was never able to find any sort of place that would be willing to do that. I had to invest the money, and I just knew going into it that I had to be there a certain period of time for my investment to be worth the space and the discounted rent. I'm using my Fendi powder foundation here. I just did that to seal that foundation. Just going to go back now with my little powder puff and just kind of blend it all in a little bit, and we'll move on. So I would just caution you that my build out run me, if I remember correctly, it was about 8 to 10,000, and I had a just under a 2,000 square foot office, because some of the requirements that I had was that I immediately had to open my business with an employee. Allstate, that was one of their requirements as a new agent, is that you had to have an employee the day you opened your business. Looking back on that now, I'm not so sure that I would do that again. I decided to leave Allstate for lots of reasons at the 3-year mark, just kind of for a lot of those reasons. I just it doesn't really matter. going into this, just know that you're going to have those those expenses depending on what your contractual agreement is, or what what kind of business you're opening. And so I stayed in that facility. I knew I was going to stay in that facility for at least 2 to 3 years, which was about right. And then some of your other big startup expenses are going to be your furnishings, your computers, your software systems, your security systems, and then one of your biggest ones, obviously, when you open the doors, is your expenses for your employee. And depending on what kind of business you're starting, you may be starting with no income coming in. That's normally kind of the way it all goes around, is that you start with no income, and so you have expenditures that are going out, and you got to make sure that you start to get the income coming in. So I would say the best thing to do when you're starting up a business is to really assess the requirements that you're going to have, and then your growth process. What's it going to look like for you in the growth process? How quickly are you going to have to make more expenditures, so forth and so on, and do a lot of research. You really need to do a lot of research into what kind of expenses you're going to have, when you're going to have them. There's lots of other expenses too that are up front. You've got insurance and payroll taxes and CPA fees, and there's just a lot to think about when you go into business for yourself. And having the funds up front, so you are not stressing right away until you start to get income stream coming in. It's important, obviously, to have money that you as the owner, and if you have a family, can live on until the money stream starts to come in. So you've also got to consider that. You've got to have money in the bank that you can live on until your money stream starts to filter in. So I think a really, really safe rule of thumb is for you to go to your local bank, and it's always better, of course, if you have a connection at a bank, to ask them for a small business loan. And I would strongly suggest that your loan is enough for the total that you determine your monthly expenses are going to be, and then take that number and multiply it out annually. And then I feel like a really safe number to have for that loan is 2 years worth of living expenses, and 2 years worth of expenses that you will have to have in order to keep your business going. That's a pretty conservative number, I would say. A lot of people, when I was doing my research, a lot of financial analysts say 3 years. I just didn't think that in my particular circumstances, at my particular location, dealing with the bank that I was dealing with, that I would get approved for any more than the 2 years. And I was very fortunate. I did get approved for my small business loan, and it gave me the opportunity to do all of the upfront expenditures that I needed to get my business ready to open the doors. I also had the loan set up on a revolving line of credit. So as I was going, I could use the money as I was going, take it down, advance it like a credit card, and then as I was starting to grow my business, pay that balance off. And so basically what it meant was I had a $75,000 revolving credit card, if you will. So when I needed the money was there and accessible for me to pay my bills. And then I would, as my income started to come in, then I would take that and I would pay off that balance. And I think that's a really good way to do it, because it encourages you to pay that balance down, so you have the fund availability if you need it. So I went to my local bank and I secured this loan, and I used it for my startup expenses and my first 2 years. And then eventually over time, of course, I will tell you that in the first 5 years of my business, I did use my line of credit, but then I completely paid my line of credit off. Now, it's very hard to find a bank that's willing to give you a small business loan. I will tell you, in my experience, sorry, let me go back and just tell you, I used this highlighter here to sculpt out my cheeks, and then that is my LA Colors palette, and then I used my LA Color palette all nude for my eyelashes, and I put the sort of the darker peach pinky color, and then I went underneath and I did my eyelashes, my waterline, and then in my lids I used a lighter color to open my eyes, make them look like they were bigger. Then I came through with my L'Oreal Infallible white powder here, and I did my under eyes, and I forgot to do the corner of my eyes here to open the corner of my eyes up, try to eliminate some of those dark circles again. And I put some lip gloss on. So in my experience, you're gonna have more luck with a local bank. If you have a relationship with a bank already, that's where you should start, because the bigger banks, the big national banks, it's a lot harder, in my experience, to get a small business loan with those banks than it is a local small bank. And if you're already doing, if you already have a relationship with a local small bank, then go in with your business plan. Make sure your business plan is extremely detailed. Show your growth, show your expenses, be honest with your expenses. Because the smaller banks, in my opinion, really want to help the small business owner, because small business owners are sort of the lifeblood of small banks, community banks. So I would definitely go there and see about securing your business loan. Okay, I'm just putting my lipstick on, and this is, let's see, this is a Revlon, and it is Sassy Mauve. Love that. It's really moist. That, let's see, it is a cream, number 463, and oh, I love this color. It's just very flattering. Me, I'm a pink person. So go to your bank and get your loan, and then get yourself started, get yourself going, and open your doors and hit the road running, as they say. Small banks, in my opinion, are the way to go. The bigger banks, it's like trying to have a relationship, with whoever. I mean, how can they be invested in you when you're just the number to them? And I personally have no experience with anybody who has gone to a big national bank for a startup business loan. And there's other things too that you can look into if you have some time. There's grants, there's all sorts of programs available. Go to your county and see if there's some programs available. If you're a veteran, there's definitely some programs available through the Veterans Administration. There's other avenues out there if you have time to research them in the beginning. This is my beautiful setting powder that I use every day. All right, let me go in and do my eyelashes, curl them. The one thing I would just stress to you about this process in the beginning is definitely have a good business plan together. Make it look very professional. When you go in to talk to the bank, make sure you have your growth on your business plan, because that's a thing that they definitely want to see, is that you're going to grow. Because if you're growing, then it reassures them. If you plan to grow, and depending on how you have your growth, then that's a really positive influence when they go to write that check for that loan. I'm going to just go in this morning and fill in my liner that I did with my darker eyeshadow with this pink color. I just want a little pop of color on my eyelashes, on the waterline. So go in, be very organized, have a very detailed plan. Make sure in the plan that you show what your growth is, your projected growth, and just make sure that you're being really honest on that, because you know these people at these banks, they're trained to look for inconsistencies when they're talking about these business loans, and you just don't want to give them any excuse not to approve your loan, right? If you've made the decision to be a small business owner and get your entrepreneurial career started, the last thing that you want to do is be shut down before you even get started. So just be real honest, be very detailed, and be very specific with, you know, your plan and where you want to be, how you're going to get there. And I really do wish you the very best of luck in doing that and opening your own business. It is a great opportunity for you to control your own destiny. As I've said in a few of my videos, if you watch my channel, and by the way, thank you very much for sticking with me and revisiting my channel. There's trade-offs to being a business owner. You know, it's long hours you're on, it's your responsibility. It can be a daunting proposition, especially when you have employees, because then you have somebody else's livelihood, if you will, as a responsibility. So, but it is a very rewarding career to have, to be a small business owner. Small business owners are the backbone of this country. And so I would encourage anybody to invest in themselves, invest in their own families, by having your own business. Just be realistic and be honest with yourself at how long you feel it's going to be before you are in the black. I will tell you the average, if you go to any of the sites that talk about being a small business owner, the average new business is not in the black for 3 to 5 years, depending on what type of industry you're in. So just go into this knowing that. Don't hype yourself up to think that it's going to be any different. Now, if you are a driven individual and you know that you're going to do great things, go for it. Just go for it. But just be honest with yourself. And then one of the greatest parts of being a business owner, and one of the most important parts of being a business owner, is your support system. You have to have a good support system, whether that be your spouse, your partner, your family, whatever it is. You have to have a good support system, and you have to be honest with each other when you endeavor into entrepreneurship, because the last thing you want is a business to end up destroying that relationship. I have been extremely blessed. My husband is unbelievably supportive, and he has been there every step of the way to support and encourage me. And I'm at a place now, I've been very fortunate. I've been a business owner now for almost 10 years. And this facility that I'm in right now, we built. This is my permanent location. I wanted a spot that I could have and be inspired by, and I didn't want to pay commercial rent, because commercial rent is ridiculous, just like rent is everywhere. And so I made the investment in myself and in my business to have a permanent location that I could take this business and take it to the point where I'm either going to sell it or pass it along to one of my kids. So I wish you the very best of luck. It's a wonderful, wonderful career to have, to be your own boss. And just go in to it with eyes wide open, be honest with yourself, and then when you're ready to get the money, go to a local bank, work on a relationship with a local bank, and then be prepared. Be organized, be prepared, be detailed, and I feel like you'll do real well. So that's it for my video today. It's Friday, TGIF. It's really hot down here in Texas. So if you're in the heat wave, we're going to be 101, 102 next week. Please be careful, drink lots of fluids, stay out of the heat from 12 to 4. That's the worst time of the day. Heat stroke is very, very real thing. Animals can get it too, so if you have loved ones that are pets, please bring them inside, because they will definitely die in the heat. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please take a few moments to leave me a comment, like, and subscribe. And also make sure you hit that bell so you know the next time that I post a video. And that's what this channel is all about. I'm Carrie Scroggins, and we are here to successfully have it all. Have a great day.